Alex Del Carmen joins us right now. How our friend from Tarleton, terrific guest every time he's on with great insight, able to talk to us today about an FBI warning that's out there of a QR scam. I'll be honest with you now, Dr. Del Carmen. I tend to do this at restaurants. You know, they make you do the QR thing for your menu now and other places like that. Give me some idea as to what I need to be looking for.
Good morning, and thanks for having me this morning. Well, essentially, the FBI issued a warning a few weeks ago, warning us all to make sure next time we actually go out there and pick up our phone and scan it with a QR code, to be very much aware that cyber criminals are basically tampering with these QR codes to try to redirect the victims to malicious websites. And so what happens is essentially you think you're going to the legitimate website, but you're going somewhere else where they're going to be asking you for your information. You're going to put that information in there. They're going to steal your credit card info. They're going to steal your bio, your date of birth, and various other components that they can use later on against you.
So how do you know? If you go into a restaurant, you scan the QR code, everything comes up. How about this? If anything besides a menu comes up, should you be aware?
Obviously, that would be a very blatant and obvious component, right? So if you're thinking you're going to pull up a menu and it takes you to, say, an Amazon website, then obviously you know that you're going to the wrong site. However, keep in mind that these criminals are pretty smart. What they'll try to do is try to make it seem as if it is a legitimate website. That happens sometimes not only when you go to restaurants, but also when you go out there and pay, for instance, at a parking meter.
We saw that,
yes.
yes.
You scan your phone, right?
Yeah.
You scan your phone,
I've done that, too. I've done that.
Yeah. And they put a little sticker over the other QR code, right? And you hit that QR code and it sends you to a company that you're paying them, and there's no record of it, right?
Exactly. And so it'll take you to a third-party website. Once you go there, you're going to enter the info. Say you're on your way to work and you're in a hurry. You're not going to sit there and try to see what the URL actually says and whether or not it's a legitimate website. So that's how they're actually getting that information from people. And they're pretty successful at it. This is a multi-million-dollar industry out there that they have been scamming people, particularly during the pandemic, because all of us are becoming more and more dependent on these QR codes in order to keep society healthier.
You know, yesterday I had to use a QR code to install a piece of equipment that AT&T had sent me for our Wi-Fi and cell service in the house. And instead of sending you a instruction booklet, they just had a QR code that you would hit, and then it gave you all the details. Now, the good news about that is you're not entering any information, right, Dr. Del Carmen? You're just reading through a pamphlet that it's sending. Right. When you start to enter the information, just hitting a QR code is not necessarily going to cause a problem. It's when you start to give them some of your details, right?
Well, for the most part, right? But then you also have emails that they're sending out with QR codes, and people tend to actually click on the QR code or use their phones to get there. So what will happen is you'll start tracking some of your information. They'll plant a malware into your device, and then they're going to be able to, grab the information while you even have the computer, on idle mode. And part of the problem with that, obviously, is that imagine all the information that you keep on your computer that the bad guys are going to want to have, and then use that information as a form of ransom to try to release it back to you for a quote-unquote certain amount of money.
If this kind of stuff keeps up, people are going to have to get out of the house and go buy stuff direct, aren't they?
Yeah, right. I know.
How can we put up with this?
Yeah. Dr. Del Carmen, is this state-run stuff, or is this all individuals who are doing this hacking?
Well, so I think it's a little bit of both. What we have found is that there are a lot of organized crime groups overseas that they're basically hosting some of these components. We also have seen that internally within the United States, where you have individual, very, very bright, motivated people that are unfortunately on the wrong side of history, and they're simply going after innocent individuals. I think as you can imagine, most of the victims in these cases are elderly or people that are just simply not familiar with the QR code technology, or just they simply won't have the time to go back and check whether or not it's legitimate or not.
Dr. Alex Del Carmen, always appreciate the time. Looks like Billy Clyde Gillespie's got his team going. You won 3 in a row out at Tarleton. Got the week off. Best of luck on Saturday. Thanks for hopping on with us.